you.
Yeah. So in the last session, we talked about filters. What are the different types of filters we're having? Four different types of filters we're having, like report level filters, page level filters, visual level filters, and drill through filters. And we have seen how first three is going to work. Like report level will be for entire reporting, and for page level is for only specific page. And when you have a visual level, then we have only the particular specific visual within the page. So all these three types of filters we are going to use at the time of working. And we have seen, and here I'm just giving an how exactly they're going to work, but when the moment we see in the dashboards, then you can feel how we can control that. So 100% filters are very, very important for the developers. So this filters is specifically designed or majorly used for developers, not for the users, mostly. So then how users are going to slice and dice the data? How users are going to play with the data if they wanted to see any specific range of the data or specific areas of the data. So for that, we are going to have a slicers. So today I'm going to talk about the slicers. These slicers will be used to slice the data. Again, these slicers will be used to limit visualization of the data in the report. So when you have a report, when the moment they're going to slice, if I wanted to slice the data for only 2020, then I can see the data for 2020 alone. Okay, so your report may have a data for multiple years. Okay, so let me give some details about this. Slicers. So slicers are used to restrict the data in the report visibility. Okay, so if your data is having 3 years, example, I'm just giving, if the report is having 5 years data, if the user wants to see a current year only, then user can select a slicer value, or they can select a year, (2024). Since it is a current year, I'm taking 2024 from the year slicer. So you will be having a data for 5 years. There will be no restriction, or there will be no what I can say. So it's not going to impact the data in the report. Only when the moment to select that time, only for that value it is going to show it. And if you want to change the value from 2024 to 2023, yes, you can change and see the data for only 2023. Or if you wanted to see only a region wise, then you can also have a region slicer. And when the moment to select a value from the region, for that particular value, it is going to show. So we are going to limit the size of the data in the visibility. So that is what it is, a slicer. So most of the places or most of the reports are going to have the slicers. 99% is every report is going to have a slicers to slice the data based on the user interest. We are giving a chance to the users to select, to play with the report. Okay, so that is what it is, a slicer. So when you have a slicers, there are three different types of slicers. There are three different types of slicers. No one will ask you how many types of slicers you're having. So they will ask what is the purpose of the slicers, and how did you use and where did you use. This kind of questions they're going to ask. So those things you can easily answer once we have completed few sessions. Now, I wanted to restrict the data based on the year. Just example. So if that is the case, then we need to have a year slicer. If the user wants to restrict the data based on number, text, and date and time, then we need to create a slicer or slicers accordingly. So if the business requirement demands to filter based on the year, when the moment you see this year, when the moment you see this year, you feel this is a number. You feel this is a number. And if I wanted to filter based on the country, how this country is going to be there, something like India, UK, US, and so on, right? So this we can feel, we have to think about this is a text slicer. We are creating a filter. The business requirement is demanding to add the slicer in the report or create a slicer in the report to restrict the data based on their interest. So when the moment to say automatically, we don't need to say it is a text. Power BI can understand this is a text filter. This is a text data. So options of the number, options of the text will be different. So we are going to see that. In the same way, if we have a date, this is a year is a number. The range date, like let's say for example, starting of 2024 and till today. Just imagine. If you have a range, then range filters are going to be there for numbers as well as even for the date also. So date, when the moment you see the date, you can feel that is a date data. So date also is important for slicers. Majorly, we are going to have these three different types of slices. Most of the reports. Okay, so flag, you can feel that is, even if there is a flag also, you can feel either that may be text or number. We are not going to show true or false mostly, but that kind of things we can handle in a different direction. So depends on the requirement, we need to create a slicer. If the business user wants to create a slicer based on the number, then create a slicer with the number. If the user wants to create a slicer based on the text, then create a slicer based on the text. This is how it is going to be there. Now I wanted to create a slicer here. Let me open the file. Just give me a minute. So slicers and filters, I'm just opening this file, same file. So basically we are going to work on a single file till that is completed. Till that is completed, we are going to work on the same file. If this is completed, I mean to say in real time, if the work is completed, then we are going to take a new or brand new report we are going to start, or if even if there is a changes are required for existing report, that also we are going to do it. Now let me open this file, just double click on it. Now it is opened. So just close this, hit OK. So these three pages we created in the last day. I'm just going to add one more page here. slicers. So three different types of slicers. I mean to say with number, text, date, I'm going to show you how exactly we are going to have it. First, I'll take a text. If I take a slicer based on the text data, how it is going to be there. Text means characters, right? So to create a slicer, this is the first visual we are going to talk in the Power BI, that is a slicer. So slicer is a visual. So from where you can take this is from this particular place. From here, from this list of visuals, we can find the slicer. So exactly this one. This is the slicer. So slicer is used to slice the data based on the user requirement. So users are going to play with the report. So because of that reason, we are going to take the slicer. Let's take this slicer. I'm just hitting on it. Now you can see here, it is coming here. So when the moment you can say select or add data to populate this visual. So every visual is going to have this note. You have to select a field to bring the data to show the data here. So for this visual, you have to take the data from the data mode. So this is the data mode and this is a build. We already seen these two are selected. Because of that reason, two boxes are here, build and data is available. If I minimize this, then it is unchecked. If I select it again, it is having here. Now I'm going to take a region. I'm going to take a region name. So that means country name. Let's bring that and add into this place. Just drag and drop here. Once I drag and drop, you can see how data is coming here. So data is showing Australia, Canada, Germany, United Kingdom, and so on. Now, if I keep like this alone, if I keep like this, what happens is, this is not look and feel. So when you create a report, that report should be a look and feel also is very important. Users, you have to wait for some time to view the report. So if that is the case, then we need to do some kind of coloring. Okay, so some kind of visibility we need to keep it. So they're going to give a color codes. If they have any concern about the color codes, they're going to say what color, what font, what size. All those details will be saved. We're going to just follow them. We know how to do it. If they say I need 10 font size, then you can take a font size 10. And if they're asking any specific color code, even that also we can do it. So formatting is important. So formatting is important, and formatting we are going to do for each and every visual and each and every page. Okay, so a specific, I mean to say, what we can say, constant format we are going to apply for all the places. Consistency is important for the reporting. So that we are going to see. You don't need to worry about it. So now I'm going to take this here. You can see there is a two options, build and format. I need a format also. So then only you can see what options are available. Hit on this format, or you can just hit on it. You can see the third section also is added. And if space is not enough, then you can minimize one of them so that you can have a minimize means you can just do like this. It's going to do. I mean to say it's going to get like that. But I wanted to have this three. This is not required, you can minimize. And whenever you require, you can take this. It's up to us. Okay. Now you can see here, when I select this one, you can have a format section. So this format section is very important. 80% of the time you're going to spend with the format section when you're designing the page. Only page development, I'm saying. Only reporting point of view. How we are going to prepare the data for the reporting, that we are going to see. So that is also is our responsibility. So at this point of time, I'm not concentrating on the data preparation. And I wanted to make you a little more flexible for the navigation. So I wanted to concentrate on the report initially. So once that is completed, then how we can prepare the data for the reporting that we are going to see. So format is having two options here. One is visual formatting options and properties. Visual formatting options and visual format properties and format visual. So what options are there in the properties? We'll see. Now it is selected this visual. So when I hit on this visual, you can see these options. When I select the properties, then you can see that. Let's select the visual. When I select this visual, there is a size and style. Okay, so no one will ask you what is size, what is style. No one will ask in the interview. So report design is important for everyone. So we should know about all these options. And when I expand this, you can see options here. So what options are there here? For this slicer, I have a size and position, padding, and background. Even if you are not aware of it, if you know there are some options to do a formatting for the visual, once you come to this place, you can feel what you have to do it. So most of the things by default, Microsoft has applied, and mostly we are not going to take complete default options of the Microsoft. Definitely every company have their own strategy and visibility. So how we are going to do it, that we are going to see. Let's expand the size, and height is there, width is there. Just observe, when I increase this height is going to be increased. You can see, you can increase the number, or you can take these options also to do it. And even width also is the same. If you want to increase with the mouse, you can do it. And if you want to do with this properties, with this format options, even that also is fine. So when these are going to be very important is when you have a multiple visuals in the page. When you have a single visual, you don't feel that is required. But when you have a too many visuals in the page, and if you wanted to do proper alignment, alignment is important. So if you want to do that, then definitely you require this size and positions. So what is the size of what is the height of this slicer? So if I have a multiple slicers, like let's say this is one slicer and I have another slicer, second slicer, third slicer, like this, if I don't have a proper height, then the look and feel is not great. So you have to keep the same height, same width. Okay, so that we are going to do it with the help of formatting. So we'll see that later when the time comes. I'm just giving an idea how exactly it is going to be there. This is the text padding, how you wanted to keep it. So default option is the best for this. And the background color, we'll see that later, how we are going to do it. And shadow is there. If you switch on this, you can see there is a shadow. Just observe the shadow. So I don't recommend to have a shadow. And if the business requirement demands to use, you can go. But personally, I don't recommend to go with the shadow. And slicer settings. Title, just ignore it. When the time comes, we'll see how title is going to help us. And if you want to take out the header of the slicer, then you can go for this. Otherwise, I don't recommend to go with the title also. Let's go to the slicer settings. This is important for us. So in the slicer settings, I have a vertical list and various options. So slicer options are important. If the user is asking to have a slicer vertical list, that is fine. That is the default option. Vertical list is the default option. Vertical list is the default option. And if you want to change these options, then you can change that. Just observe how exactly it is going to be there. If I say tile, then it is going to have a something like this. And if I increase this is also is a slicer, like a buttons. Okay, so if I hit on it, it is going to show the data for Australia. Just observe, I'm just going to take this visual into this place. So in Australia, we have only one product. Let's take this one. And if you take a Germany, we have a multiple data here. I mean to say data is more. So this is playing with the based on a selection. So if you select a value from the slicer, based on that, the data is going to show here. If I wanted to see the data for only United Kingdom, then you can see the data for United Kingdom. And if I select a United States, then accordingly the data is showing. So slicers are used to slice the data based on the user requirement. Some users are more interested to see the Germany numbers, or some users are more interested on the United States numbers because that is their responsibility. So they have to analyze their business. Okay, so this kind of requirement in the business is going to be there, and some people they're going to do they're going to look worldwide numbers, and some people they're going to see the numbers based on their role. So slicers are used to slice the data. So this is a tile type of slicer. And if I have a drop down, then you can see, I'm just going to expand this. Now drop down also is one of the option when you have a multiple visuals in the page. And if you wanted to utilize the space is also is important. So some people are more interested in creating a report in a A4 size. So this default size is a A4 size. And if you want to increase the size of the page, yes, we can increase the size of the page. So we'll talk about it and what situation we can go for that kind of requirement. Now this is a drop down. If I hit on it, then I can see the values. If I click outside, automatically it is going to be collapsed. And if you want to select a value now, you can select it. Canada, Germany. I wanted to see multiple Germany as well as Australia. Then press Control and select it. Now it is selected. If I uncheck, press Control and uncheck, then you can see here is the numbers are having for Australia, and it is just highlighting and taking out. If I check and uncheck, but I don't want to press the control. I'm not interested to press the control. So if that is the case, then let's select this one, same slicer. In the style, we have these three options: vertical list, tile, and drop down. And when you go to the selection, in the selection, we have a different options again. Single select. Single select is used to select a single value. Now you can see here I'm having a multiple selections, multiple values I selected from the slicer. I'll come to that. So how you have selected multiple values here is because of this option. You can see what option I'm having here. Multi-select with control. So by default, it was on. It's a default in on mode. So because of that reason, you're able to select multiple values by pressing control from the keyboard. And if I wanted to select a checkbox, I wanted to go for checkbox. I don't want to go with control. Then you have to choose this option. So select all. Just select this option. If I hit on it, drop down again. Now you can see, and make sure to switch off this also, control this one. Now it is going to have a checkbox. You can see. So whatever you wanted to see the data, that data you can see it. If I need a multiple values, then I can select it. If I wanted to exclude Germany, I can exclude a Germany. I can uncheck that. So whatever the user are interested, whatever the values user wanted to take from the slicer, he can take it. He can see the data. So all data is available. For all the reasons, data is available. So depends on the user interest, depends on the user role, especially I'm specifically saying a role. We are not going to visible all the data to each and everyone in the organization. That's a security violation. We have to show what data is required for that particular person. So based on the role, we have to make it visualize the data to the particular customer. How we are going to do is by using a role. We are going to create a security. That security is going to handle. So when the moment user opens a report, it is going to check what level of access this particular person is having. That data only is going to visualize in the report. So we'll see that later. At this point of time, no. And these options we have seen. Slicer settings, we have come across it. If I wanted to give a single selection, then switch off all of them and go with only single select, you can see here. If I go with the single select, then options are changed here. Now it is having a radio buttons here. So that means at one shot, you can select only single value from the slicer. So this kind of slicers also we are going to have it. Something like this. So that is about options and selection. And slicer header, if I switch off this slicer header, you can see on how it is having. You can just observe. So I wanted to keep the slicer header as it is. But column name, I don't want to show like a region country name. I wanted to give a region or you can give a country. Anything is fine. Okay, so I don't want to go like that. I wanted to say country name or region name, you can give. It's all depends. And even if you want to give a region country name, you can give it. But here there is no space between the words. For development purpose, that is fine. But for user perspective, you have to give a space. So readability is important. In order to do this, I can change in the header. I can give a space for this one, or instead of giving directly here, I recommend you to change the column name in the field. In the build section, you can see it, just double click on it. It will go inside this box and give a space. Automatically, it is going to give a space there also. And click outside. Now you can see. If you observe, region country name is having a space. Let's expand this header. And when you have a text, so this region country name is a text value. This region country name is a text only, right? So this text, how we can do format? For every visual, we are going to have a formatting of that particular text. So text is there, border is there, background, pending icon. Okay, so just observe only the text. And I wanted to change the font size or font family. You can have a depends on their requirement. We're going to have a font family. So whatever the font family they wanted to take it, that we can take it. So that is one thing we have to keep in mind. So definitely they're going to come up with some font family. They're going to apply the same font family for all the reports in their organization. And font size, you can increase by using this up arrows, down arrows for decreasing, or you can also use the mouse to up arrow to increase your title name. So here I'm just giving, just for visibility, I'm just giving up to 15. But we don't give a 15 size in real time. Mostly we're going to have a 9 or 10. Default is 9. 9 or 10 we're going to give. And if they need a little more size, then they're going to give a instructions. So I've taken font family and font size. Then you can see here there is a bold. When the moment you hit on it, you can see the change in the slicer header. If I uncheck it, unbold, unbold. And there is a italic, you can see here. So if they need anything to highlight, then we can go for italic and bold. It all depends. And if they need an underscore, then we can also keep an underscore. We are not going to keep the underscore or italic in this place. And if there is anything that you wanted to highlight, if you wanted to make it underscore, that you can make it underscore in the text. So wherever there is a text to format, then all these options are going to be very much common in each and every of the visual. So that we are going to see when we see practical, then you can understand it. And then I'm not interested to have the color black. Just imagine. I mean, if a customer is not interested, then you can have a font color also. So what kind of color you wanted to take it, that you can take it. It looks like a black. Let me take this so that you can make it visible. You can see the change in the color. So that means, and if they give any color code, then what you have to do is, if you hit on this more colors, then color code you can enter in this place. They're just going to give a number to you, that number you're going to enter. Or they're going to give a red, green, and blue numbers. You can enter that number. Once you have a color code, that code you can take a copy and paste and apply in all the places. How we can reuse the formatting options, we'll see in the future sessions. So this is how we are going to take a color. And what is this effects, we'll see later. And then text is done, and border. So border is not required basically. Okay, you can just ignore that border. And like if you wanted to keep the borders something like this, just check all the check boxes and see how it is going to be done. I don't recommend to have a headers borders for the header. So I'm just going to uncheck all of them. So background of the visual, if you wanted to keep, you can keep it. If you wanted to keep the background of this formatting color, you can keep it. And if you wanted to keep a very light color, you can just have a something like this. And if they give a color code, then that is well and good. So like this, you can do formatting. So we have seen how we can do formatting a slicer header. And values. Values means this one. We have to format this also. We can have a font family, font size for this also. The way I did for the header, in the same way I wanted to do it for the values. Okay, so this is a header and these are all the values. So values formatting is required, and this is a header. So slicer header we have seen that we have completed. Now I wanted to do formatting for the values. So values I'm having here. So we have to do formatting for this. Now let's expand these values and see the options. Here also I have a, under the section of values, I have a values, border, and background. So three options are there. Expand these values and see the same font family is there, size is there, same size is there. And color, I wanted to take a thick black color. Then you can take a this one. The color will change. The padding is fine. The size, I'm good with the size. You can see here now. The header we have taken a 15. Let me take it. This one is up to 13. Now you can see the size is increased. And if you wanted to keep the bold, you can keep the bold. You can see italic. You can see italic. Underscore. Underscore is there. But we don't keep all this stuff. Bold and all, we don't take it. Generally, we are going to show the values. Like this. Okay, so padding is going to give a space of the starting of this a space between this circle and a value. That also can just leave it as it is the default. And if they're asking to move little right forward, then you can go. Or if they are asking to move little back this side, then you can reduce this number. I'm just keeping the 0. You can see how it is going to be there. It's not showing much difference here. Just leave it as it is the 4. In the same way, here also I have a border, so I don't recommend it to go with the border. Let's take out it. And background also is not required. You don't need to have a background for the values. You can just leave it. And this is how you're going to format your header and values of the slicer. And we have seen the options of this visual. Then what about this properties? In the properties also, we are going to apply the filter. In the properties also, we are going to apply the filter. A data format, region country name, format is a text format. And header icons, if you see, if I have here filter, focus, and so on. So various options are there, filter, focus mode, and more options. Those we can control from the slicer, from the header icons. Okay, so we'll see this later. This is not the right time to see. And advanced options, not this one. Alternative text also is not required. So here we have a limited options for the properties when you have this one. And when you go for others, you're going to have a more options. Somewhere I missed it is the border. If I wanted to keep a border for this slicer. So if you have some idea, if you, I mean to say, you know the property, if you're not in a position to find where exactly it is available, you can also search in this place. So I know I wanted to keep a border and I missed somewhere the border for the entire visual, not for values, not for header. Just search about that border. Visual border is there here. So where it is available under the size and style. So if we go and see that in the size and style, if you expand it, we have a visual border. So when I hit on visual border, you can see the border is going to come for this. So like this, we can have a borders also. So it's all depends on the requirement. You are going to have a options. So I'm just taking a vertical list here. And let me take it as, I'm just going to uncheck this as a single selection. I wanted to go with the select all option. Okay. Now, if I wanted to clear the filters, so they're all selected, whatever they're interested, and I wanted to clear them. So if you wanted to clear them, there is an option called clear selection. So clear selection is more useful for the users. Okay, so they have to know about this, how they can clear the slicers. Just uncheck that, automatically it is going to be cleared. Okay, so this is how we can format of your text slicer. Any question as of now with the text slicer? So I'm going slowly, one by one visual, I'm going to take you through. Yeah, please, any question?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Now, I wanted to create another slicer that is with the number or date. So let me take a date so that you can have a option. I think I have a date, data. The date column is there. So I wanted to filter I wanted to format the date, I wanted to apply a filter based on the date. So if that is the case, then I don't want to create a from the beginning. I don't want to create a slicer from the beginning, something like just click outside, select the slicer and check this checkbox, date will come to here. So when I take a date slicer, I'm having a different look and feel. When I have a text data, the look and feel is different, right? So we have to understand what type of slicer they're expecting when you have a date or when you have a text. So these things are important. And if I wanted to reuse this formatting options, the same formatting options, if I wanted to do it for this visual, then you can use this particular option here, the paint symbol. Most of us are aware of this. It is there in Excel, it is there in a Word, in all the places, in all Microsoft tools, it is available. So I can use that. I don't need to format this title. I don't need to go for mostly we can the slicer option also is going to be changed to just observe. Let's take a formatting option and apply for this. So it is not taking this checkbox, I mean to say the vertical list, right? Just observe what options are there for this date slicer. The way we have done formatting for text, in the same way you can do it. Go to this place, format, then it is going to open. Size and style we have seen for the date also, for the text also. Title just ignore. Slicer settings is important for us. So options are there here. In options, you can see style of the slicer. The default style of the date field is a between. So when I hit on it, you can see the various options here. Various options I'm having it. Vertical list, tile. Tile we have seen. For text we have seen, right? And for text we have seen vertical list. And these are all the drop down is there. The drop down also is common. So these three are common for every type of the data. If we have a text data, but these three options will be there for that also. And if we have a numbers, for numbers also, we are going to have these three. And if we have a date, then these options are going to be additional. Between, if I wanted to have a range from this range to this range, the starting date and ending date. So if you have that kind of requirement, then you're going to use between. Between we are going to use. And before starting date, after specified date and before specified date, relative date and relative time. So various options are available here. I'm just going to take a vertical list. Just observe. If it is a vertical list, I don't need to do anything. You can just reduce the size. This is a date slicer. And how exactly we are going to have a different options, we'll see that. Okay, so just observe between you're having a range, you can slide the dates. Numbers are going to change, you can see. The starting date is changed and ending date is changed. And if you want to enter any specific date, then you just hit on it, calendar will be open, you can take the date. So range dates also we are going to use in the real time at the time of reporting. And I'm also having a before. For before means the starting date is disabled. Before this date. After this date means if I take a after, then this will be enabled and this will be disabled. So you can feel that what they're asking when the requirement comes to you to have a slicers in the report, then you can feel when the requirement you get or when you go through the requirement, you can feel what is suitable. And then I have a drop down. Drop down is common for everything you can see. And I'm also having a relative date. Last 1 year date I wanted to take it. Last week's data I wanted to take it. Okay, so whatever the things that you wanted to take, that you can take in this particular place. So the reason why I'm not getting the data here is because I have a 2020. No, I don't have that particular size of the data, so you cannot see. The date column is 2019. Let me take a last 5 years data. I'm just keeping 5 years I'm taking. Then you can see the data. Last 4 years data. Now you can see. So you can specify here what you wanted to take it. Mostly we are going to take a last. So our responsibility is up to creating a slicer, up to formatting a slicer. How it is going to be used, that will be taken care by the users. They know how to slice the data by using the slicer, but they don't know how to create it. That is the only thing. They're going to ask us to create, and this is going to be used by the customers. So this is a date slicer. And apart from this format, you can also take a copy and paste. You can just copy this visual and paste this visual. So I wanted to create a number slicer. I have a number here also. There is a quantity. I'm just taking a quantity for reference. Just take out this and select a quantity and keep it here. You can see what options are there here. The same formatting options automatically will come when you take a copy and paste it. So here also, let me show you what options, I mean to say, when you go to the slider settings, what options are there, what styles are there here. Vertical list is, we have seen for both of them, date and text. Tile we have seen, drop down we have seen, between we have seen. When I select the between, so when there is a number also is going to have a range slicer. You can have a range. You can increase it. So depends on your requirement, you can choose that. See, so you can slice and dice it. You can use the slider to arrange these numbers, or you can enter the numbers here directly. So the way we are having a slider for the date filter, a date slicer, in the same way we have a slider for even number also. And less than or equal to I'm having, and greater than or equal to. So greater than or equal to is after in the date, and less than or equal to is before in the date. Okay, so these styles we're having in this place. So various styles we're having here. So I'm just going to take a vertical list. And I wanted to keep this as sales quantity is the naming standard. So this is how we are going to format the slicers. So I'm not doing alignment at this point of time. We'll see how we are going to do the alignment in the future sessions. But here I'm just going to take only how we can format this. Alignment we'll see later. Okay, so sync slicers, I'm going to talk about it. This, when the time comes, you can understand. And if you wanted to apply a slicer for, I mean to say, for all the pages, if you wanted to apply, then how you're going to apply that, otherwise, let me talk about this also. It may take some time. We'll see that sync slicers in the next session. Okay, so still there are a few things are important. So sync slicers, why we need to go for sync slicers, we'll see. So my expectation from your side is how you can create these 3 slicers, and you have to do formatting, and you have to show it to me. So maybe from first week of December, I'll try to arrange a practice session also. If you're interested, you can join in that and you can do your practice. So this is the plan. Okay, so yeah. So I'm stopping here. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Nope, we are good till now.
Yeah. Okay then. Thank you, and we'll see on tomorrow. Thank you for
And
joining.
and bro, can you help me with the sample Excel file and this Power BI setup execution file to us?
Yeah, tomorrow we'll do that only.
Okay, then we'll
Yeah,
give a try to install in our local
yeah,
machine and we'll give a
yes,
try.
yeah. So tomorrow, basically, and mostly on Saturday, I'm going to talk about interview related stuff. And if you have any setup issues, that I'm also going to help you set up issues.
Okay, so tomorrow completely based on QA session, no
Yes, no
technical.
technical, no technical.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Yep,
okay then. We'll see on tomorrow. Thank you.
cool. Yep, thank you.